Welcome back, it's me, Lou. I'm here for another action figure unboxing and review, and today from Hasbro. In their Marvel Legends line, we are featuring X-Men, the animated series, Morph. So this is an older action figure. It came out back in 2022. The idea behind it was that Hasbro was going to take some of the characters from the much beloved X-Men, the animated series, which was on Fox Kids way back in the 1990s, and take some of those characters and kind of give them a much more animated, inspired color scheme, and also package them in kind of this throwback retro VHS tape style box. I thought the idea was brilliant. If you were a child of the 90s and if you grew up watching the X-Men on Saturday mornings, this probably really hits close to home. It's really neat because, you look at it, it looks just like the old VHS tapes from back in the day. But, there's a lot of cool things here. Like you look on the side, it says MVL instead of VHS tape, for Marvel Legends. Really fun looking animated inspired artwork of the character Morph. And it's just awesome. So let's get started. The mutant shapeshifter Morph returns to haunt the X-Men after being captured and manipulated by Mr. Sinister. So fans will remember that Morph initially was killed off early on in the series. And I think this is his second Marvel Legends figure. The first one was the very pale, I think, white-skinned Morph character, but that was the comic book iteration, which I think depicted Morph from, I want to say, the Age of Apocalypse era, whereas this one is clearly based off of the Fox Kids animated series. I'm excited. The trailer for the new show, X-Men 97, was released maybe like a week or two ago, and that's going to be on Disney Plus. So, it's going to be really fun for me to revisit that era. All right, so let's get started and take a look at the action figure. Alright, so there's a small little baggie here, and this has, I believe, the alternate head and alternate hands. We'll take a look at that in a moment. Okay, so let's take a look at the alternate accessories first. So you have the alternate portrait of Morph. This is kind of like more so the diabolical, manipulated head, when he's clearly a pawn of Mr. Sinister. He kind of has the dark rings around his eyes, and he has that kind of like crazed look. It's pretty cool. I dig that. He comes with alternate hands, and these are open palms. A little bit more expressive, for me. I'm contemplating probably swapping out the fist for these. I don't imagine Morph being much of a brawler when he's in his neutral state. He's a very emotional character, especially at this point in the storyline. So I do like the idea of having open palms, just because you can emote him differently. He can be a little bit more dramatic. And here is the figure. For me, this was, I don't want to say it was a sleeper hit, because I know it was a really popular figure with fans, but at the time of its release, I didn't feel like I needed it. But now that I'm holding it, I'm liking it a lot, just because I like the improvements that they did on the legs in terms of the standard X-Men uniform. Like, we had the Jim Lee Cyclops figure years ago, and the issue with that figure is that all the straps and harnesses on his thighs and boots, they had a tendency to kind of like flop around. But here they're actually integrated into the design, so you don't have to worry about that. He features a very animated, cel-shaded style of paint application. So that's why it kind of looks kind of off. There might be yellow with kind of like a darker yellow for shading. So that kind of like emulates, like an animated cell shaded design if you're familiar with animation. And the one thing I do like about this figure is it kind of feels like if you wanted to, you might be able to, like, if you didn't get the Cyclops that was in the 3-pack with Jean Grey and Wolverine, that had Cyclops with the leather jacket, you know, it seems like you'd be able to, like, use this as a proxy. You know, the only difference is that he's wearing the standard X-Men uniform, not the completely blue bodysuit like Cyclops. But if you had a spare Cyclops head, you know, just slap it on here, and you could kind of say it's Cyclops, you know, during, like, pre-flight when he's wearing the coat and they're getting ready to take off in the Blackbird. I'm trying to center his belt right now because my belt buckle is kind of off-centered. It's a very tight and snug fit around the waist, which I do appreciate, but at the same time it makes it kind of difficult to, like, move it around. And my OCD is getting the best of me, and I just want it to be perfectly centered on his body. Well, I might have to do that later. But overall, it's a really cool action figure. The face sculpt is nice. It's a very generic looking face. You know, Morph doesn't necessarily have, like, a really identifiable face. He's not like Wolverine with the pork chop sideburns, or like Gambit with the red eyes. You know, this can easily pass off as any other character. So if you're a customizer, you can use his head for, you know, another figure if you wanted to. The coat, I believe, is the same as the Cyclops one that we got some years back. Again, it kind of has some of that cell shading with the brown here, which looks kind of off if you're not familiar with it. And I think I've seen tricks in the past where people found ways of removing the paint, I think by either lightly using watered down nail polish remover or rubbing alcohol. I think 100% or 99% isopropyl alcohol to remove this. He has the X-Men badge over the one half of the coat. And it's a nice figure. I like it a lot. Like I said, you know, I think this would be a great proxy for Cyclops, you know, to swap the head out if you don't have that one. The only thing is that it's inaccurate. It's just because of the bodysuit. One thing that strikes me as being kind of weird also is that the lower torso is done in yellow plastic. So you could kind of see it through the gaps. I think it would have been nicer if they used blue and painted yellow over it. But it's a great looking figure. You know, the color scheme matches perfectly. And it's Morph, you know. It would have been nice if they gave us, like, an alternate head where he's, like, mimicking another character, you know, since he is a shapeshifter. And I'm trying to, like, see if some of these joints on my figure are kind of tight. And I always get nervous about some of the swivel joints because I never know if the joint is stuck and if I'm actually tearing the peg. The articulation, his head, he looks down, which is very impressive. He looks up, which is nice. Arms go out. Swivel, single pinned elbow, I believe, not double pinned. But I don't mind, you know, it's a clean look. Articulated wrists, ab crunch, also arch back, swivel at the waist, kicks up, kicks outward. Yeah, this upper thigh swivel, boot cut. So yeah, it's a nice figure. I'm very, very surprised. I didn't think I'd like it as much as I did. Like I said, for me, it's like I kind of passed on this figure initially when it was first released a few years ago. And I have to admit, you know, I did get the bug for the animated series of figures, you know, with the new cartoon coming back, or, you know, going to be debuting in a few weeks. So here he is next to Marvel Legends Darwin, just to give you an idea. Let's compare him next to some of the more other modern figs. Here he is next to Vulcan. Slightly shorter figure. Yeah, but overall, great value. I think it's awesome. All right, so let's wrap this one up. Once again, my name is Lou. If you're new to my channel, welcome. If you are a returning viewer or subscriber, thank you so much for your continued support. I greatly appreciate it. So until the next video, be safe, take care of yourself, buy lots of toys, and most importantly, be happy. And I'll see you at the next one. All right, later.